you're known as the Southernmost Doc, and you're beloved in the community. And but a lot of people might not know about your background, where you're from, that kind of thing.
Well, I'm a born and raised Manhattanite, and before moving here, the New Yorker cartoon of New Yorker's view of the world was my worldview, and I never thought I would leave. I thought I'd be buried in Central Park. I was the chief psychologist at Bellevue Hospital for 15 years. Before that, I ran the adolescent unit at Harlem Hospital, and I did a lot of criminal expert witness testimony work in New York, which I'm still doing here. And currently, I have a private practice, and I also consult with the Navy's alcohol and drug program. I'm the guy who answers the question to the song, "What do you do with the drunken sailor?" So, and I'm here, and I love my card. My card says Southernmost Shrink. It's got a picture of a palm tree and a couch, so it's perfect for Key West, and Key West is perfect for me. I'm so glad my wife made me move here.
That was my next question. How did you wind up here, of all places? I mean, you were the chief psychiatric guy at Bellevue, for crying out loud, and you wind up in little old Key West. What happened there?
I met a woman who was on vacation from Key West in New York in '82. We got married in '84. We made a deal, 10 years in New York we'd leave, because I had kids from another marriage, and I was a chief psychologist at Bellevue, and where else would anybody want to live? January 16th, 1994, in the middle of a terrible blizzard, 10 years ran. I thought she'd forgotten. And she said, quote, "I'm leaving with the children, are you coming?" It wasn't a threat, it was just a statement, she told me. We left in June. I was terrified. I thank her now every day, because it's the best thing I could have done. I tell my patients that story because my work involves change often that people don't want to make. And change is scary, anxiety producing and all that. But it can be great, and my change, against my will, was wonderful. So thank you, Diane. So I'm here 25 years ago.
And we're glad, and the island is all the richer for it.
Thank you.
So given the current set of circumstances, is there anything comparable in your experience or lifetime that you could compare what we're going through?
There's an old Chinese saying, "May we live in interesting times." This is. I've never experienced anything like this. I don't think anybody has. Maybe if you were living in Africa during the Ebola crisis, it would be similar, but there's nothing. This is unique. This is unique. And because it's unique, it's technically abnormal, and your reactions are okay. You're supposed to be concerned. You're supposed to be worried. If you weren't concerned and weren't worried, you'd be stupid. However, it is not useful to be panicked. It is not useful to obsess and ruminate over it. There's a great saying, the serenity prayer. Give me the courage to change the things I can change. The serenity to accept the things I cannot change, and the wisdom to know the difference. Be prepared, stay inside, practice all of the sanitary things that people tell you to do, and then stop worrying about it. Obsessive rumination about something you can't change is not useful. After 9/11, people would be watching videos of the planes crashing into the building repeatedly, and it was giving them PTSD. There's a basic rule in psychotherapy. Stop it. Psychotherapy is involved. Stop doing this and do this instead. So if you see you're going over and over and over again something that you can't change, be aware of that and then stop it and think of something else. Think of things that you want to do, that you haven't been able to do. Cleaning out the house, reading the last 30 editions of the magazine, Sports Fisherman, that's been lying around, or whatever. Do productive things. Take walks. Work out. Exercise is probably the best treatment for anxiety. It actually changes the anxiety-producing chemicals in your bodies. Work out is incredibly important.
Talk to me about 24-hour news cycles and people glued in their homes to their television and the effect that has.
That's similar to watching the planes crashing into the World Trade Center. Limit your amount of time. You're not going to get anything new. They are loops. You know, when you see the same interview with Boris Johnson having the coronavirus, stop. Watch it for an hour in the morning and an hour in the evening. That's enough. You know, dose your TV like you would be. You know, don't have too many drinks. Don't take too many drugs, and don't watch too much news. Watch other things. Watch TED Talks. Watch anything other than the news. There's some great stuff, particularly now. The networks are streaming wonderful movies. You should be outside. In this community, with social distancing, you should be outside enjoying the paradise that we live in. And UV light does kill the virus, from last I heard. I just saw a good interview about, can you bring it into your house on your shoes? Well, do like the Japanese do, leave your shoes outside. What we think affects our body. I have a demonstration that I do with people when I have them do a physical test. I have them put their arm out and try and push it down, and just as they are, then determine what their strength level is. And then I'll have them think of all the negative, critical bullshit that they think about themselves, and I'll try and push their arm down, and they lose all strength. Do this with big, strong, guys who are way stronger than me.
So they're holding their arm out, and you have them think about negative things about themselves, and they actually lose physical strength.
I can push a hand down like that.
Wow.
Even a bodybuilder. So what you think, what you pay attention to affects your body. So it's bad. It's just unhealthy. Paradoxically, it weakens your immune system by worrying all the time. And now we want our immune systems to be as strong as possible. So, as Bob Newhart said, stop it.
Stop it.
Isn't there a defense mechanism? I'm no psychologist, but isn't there a defense mechanism that makes people catastrophize? They try to worry. They try to imagine the worst.
As you said, human nature is to look at worst case scenarios, and we tend to be negative in our expectation of the future. But it's helped us survive. Back in caveman days, if there was a subgroup that decided to live out on the Sahara in the desert, or in the open, they'd probably get eaten, rather than the ones who lived in the smoky, dirty caves. And then the ones in the cave said, "See, I told you, stay inside. Don't try something new." And that was adaptive. But right now, worrying about the worst case scenario is not adaptive. And in my experience, people who always expect the worst and think that they're better prepared and there's less trauma if they're always expecting the worst have no less pain than the optimist who is not focusing on the negative, and if something bad happens, they'll have pain, but it's no more than the pessimist. So it's just not adaptive to be always expecting and living for the worst to happen. Be aware. Don't be blind to what's going on. Do the proper safety precautions, and after that, live.
So if someone were to come to you just really troubled, just really on the edge, what's the first thing you'd say to them?
Well, I try and determine what about what's going on is making them particularly anxious, because everybody's got their own angle on it. So it's a personal issue. Is it that they're worried about their parents dying? Is it worried about their kids dying? Is it they're worried about their economic situation? What part of this crisis is concerning them the most? Are they just worrying about themselves? Whatever it is, that's what I would address and try and get them to look at it in a calm, rational way. And again, emphasizing letting it go. This will pass. There will be a vaccine. The coronavirus is not going to go away, but it apparently will become like many of the other flu viruses that we'll have to be aware of. And there'll be a vaccination. In the meantime, be careful.
What would you say to people that are watching right now that are just really desperate? I mean, they may be thinking about hurting themselves or giving up. What would you say to someone?
If you're suicidal, call the suicide hotline, or call a friend, or call a priest, or call a rabbi. Talk to somebody, because your judgment is impaired right now. If you're that freaked out, talk to somebody, because you're going to be making a really stupid mistake. In fact, it's interesting that most people who are terminally ill and in pain do not kill themselves. They do not try and kill themselves. They just wait and are optimistic right to the end. So this is certainly not like that. And don't kill yourself. As I said, talk to somebody, talk to a friend, take a walk, deep breathing, listen to a meditation tape. There's a technique of guided meditation for people who can't meditate. Meditation is very difficult. I saw an interview with the Dalai Lama and Sanjay Gupta, and Sanjay Gupta was complaining about how hard it is to meditate, and this Dalai Lama said, "Yes, I know, it's hard for me too." This one is guided meditation. It's called Yoga Nidra, Nidra. It is not yoga in the sense where you try and put your foot behind your neck. Yoga means means the integration of breathing and consciousness and life. So go to Yoga Nidra on YouTube. First Google it, because the description of it is very interesting, and it's being used now in the military for treating PTSD. There are hundreds of people giving the guided meditation. It takes about 35 minutes. There's documented research that it actually increases neural pathway development. It's good for you. It helps calm you. It gives you actually a 35-minute Yoga Nidra session will give you the same sense of rest that a 2-hour nap will. It's really good stuff.
All right, so the entire island is your patient, and we're all sitting in front of you right now. What's your message?
Be careful, be responsible, be clean, socially isolate, call your friends, stay in phone contact with them, text contact with them, stay busy, stay physically active.
Limit news consumption?
Limit news consumption, thank you. But just get out, walk. Bicycle. Walking is one of the best exercises anybody can do, regardless of age. This too shall pass. And that's something to remember when you're depressed, when you're worried about you're losing your job, when you're worried, just remember this too shall pass. Something else will happen, but this will pass. And you probably have the coping skills to deal with whatever's coming along. Don't underestimate how strong you are. You're stronger than you think you are. Remember that. Take a deep breath, smile, listen to comedy videos, and laugh. It's very healthy. And enjoy life. That's what we have. All we have is life. Enjoy life. Enjoy life.